I think the main thing for everyone, and I was talking to Alejandro earlier actually, is that I'm not as affected with this big transition because I've been working at home for this is my second year working from home, so I don't have that kind of daily commute anymore, and it's funny how much time you spend doing like all this just stuff. You gotta get ready, you get in the car, you drive somewhere, you park, you walk across the lot, you settle into work, you work for a couple hours, you go to lunch, you come back, and then you stop and do errands on the way home. And like by the time you get home, it's like all I did was wake up and leave, and now it's time to have dinner, like the whole day's over. And then when you're home, you realize like, oh, that hour commute and then the 30 minutes of getting ready and the lunch break and all that stuff, it's now, those things are minutes instead of hours. And you suddenly find you have a lot more time. And it was difficult for me at first to kind of adjust to, I felt like, well, whether I'm coaching or I'm working a project or something, like I should be working 8 hours, And when I thought about it, I was like, well, even when I was at work, I wasn't really working 8 hours. A lot of my time was downtime, or you're waiting for somebody.
But you're still at work, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I realized though that, I had a lot of meetings or a lot of phone calls or a lot of paperwork or a lot of, waiting for somebody, or I had to walk over to meet somebody. So half my workday was me kind of waiting for things to happen or waiting for other people or what have you. And so I wasn't like working for 8 hours straight. So when I first started working from home last year, that was a big transition to let myself know that I don't have to be going 100 miles an hour, 8 hours a day. Sometimes I might get everything done in 2 or 3 hours, and that's everything. Now I'm just waiting for people to get back to me the next day or what have you. So kind of building habits and ensuring, like Rick was saying, like I think it's really helpful to start some routines and set yourself up for success, whether it's movement, stretching, training, internet, working on a project, getting some work done. Ensuring that you have a lunch break. That was a big thing for me. At first, I would start getting into stuff, and all of a sudden, I'd be so hungry, and I realized like, oh, it's 2:00 in the afternoon. I forgot to have a lunch break. So I had to like remind myself, part of my day is I'm going to treat this like work, and I'm going to get up, and I'm going to get dressed, and I'm going to eat, and I'm going to be ready to go at like 8:00. And then at noon, I'm going to stop, because if I was at work, I'd have a lunch break. And so I'm going to treat my day, whether I'm at the office or at home, and have some structure. And that really helped me a lot, because I'm really good at like different zones. And so it's like, oh, so I'm at work until noon, and then it doesn't matter if I'm home or at the office or anywhere, that's my lunch hour. And then I'm going to come back. And so that really helped me. But I think a lot of people are kind of in these transitions, especially if you've never worked from home before. And it's going to be, a little bit like grinding, finding the right gear until they figure out like, where in my house do I work? I don't have a home office necessarily. Or, how do I do all the things I need to do because I haven't set the system up yet? So kind of giving yourself some time, allowing yourself to figure that out, I think is helpful, because it can be a little stressful, these transitions.
Do you enjoy working from home?
I do very much. And it was difficult for me to kind of step away from the office. I worked for like 8 years at an office, and the first couple of weeks were me figuring all that stuff. But now I'm in my second year, and it's I would much rather work from home now than have to commute to the office and all that kind of thing. But one of the things that was also hard for me is that being an outdoor person and being an active person was I had to remind myself, go outside at some point, because otherwise I would just get up and work and then have dinner. And I'm like, oh, I didn't go outside yesterday, And so reminding myself to do some of those things so that I could feel kind of sane, and as a whole person, really complete in myself, not just the work person or the project person, or the husband, but also like, oh, the active person. So it's helpful for me to remember, like, I'm going to read every day. I'm going to get some some movement in every day. I'm going to go outside every day. Those are all important aspects of me working from home, even though they're not necessarily part of my like quote unquote work day.